he played very similarly to how Farrell played when he first started in the first team. Probably kicked a bit more than he does now. Certainly ran a bit wider, played a bit of second receiver and that sort of stuff. Whereas now, then when Michael Maguire came in, he moved more into the middle, but still didn't lose that passing, and he became an at-the-line passer. What Sean O'Loughlin's got better than any other forward that I've ever watched play rugby league is the ability to pass it both ways. No forward I've ever watched play rugby league, other than the few hookers, obviously slightly different position, but can pass it as well, left and right, cut out passes both ways, short balls both ways, than Sean O'Loughlin. And he's been a fantastic captain at Wigan as well. Saw us through the rough time after Farrell left. Saw us through that rough patch, and then has been an absolute triumph in the last decade. You know, all you have to do is look at the amount of... In fact, that's another thing you can do for loose forwards. Look at the amount of pictures there are of loose forwards lifting trophies. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Sinfield and O'Loughlin being case in point over the last 10 to 15 years, or certainly 10 to 12 years. No, 15 really for
it is now, yeah.
Sinfield, yeah, God. Yeah, so I've been lucky in that regard. I think there's one other player from that era where you had Sculthorpe, you had Farrell, we've talked a little bit about Smith. There was Vowles as well at Castleford who won a Man of Steel, didn't he, at loose forward. And I think, you know, that was the time when I was really getting into the sport, between sort of 98 and 2002, 2003-ish. And these were the players that stood out in all the sides. Every season, it was a loose forward.
Yeah, it's funny because when loose forward was the next topic, the first kind of names that come to spring to mind is loose forwards at other teams, because teams like Wigan have been incredibly blessed by having those kind of players around, without question. And I think a lot of other teams struggle, and they plug players in who can do a little bit of something, but are not the whole package. And that is something, I think that is something that separates the good teams from the great teams. There are a couple of names I do want to mention, just because they were good when we were good. The first one, just taking them chronologically, is Steve McNamara. Goal kicker again. Great goal kicker for us. Played, obviously, had his started in Hull, came over to us. Obviously, had an unhappy time in Wakefield before he ended up at Huddersfield. But for 3 or 4 years, he could do no wrong in Bradford whilst we were in our glory days. And the other name I wanted to mention, again, as more of a utility type player, is Mike Forshaw.
Yes, very good player, yeah.
An excellent player. Ultimate professional, as his nickname was. And he came into a good side, but just made us better. He often used to lock the scrum, even though he might not have been a natural 13, but he was such a good player. He could play there with aplomb. And they were the two names that I really thought of in a Bradford shirt. But we just haven't had the run of players that other teams have had, unfortunately, in that position.
No, and Mike Forshaw actually started out at Wigan, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
He's a Wigan lad, and so obviously that time, though, being a player in that position at Wigan, you had to be very, very good. And he was just very good, I think. But like you say,
yes.
And it's no surprise that he went into strength and conditioning as his career choice.
Absolutely not.
After his career ended.
Great, fantastic player who really looked, who wouldn't have been out of place playing 10 years later. Do you know what I mean? In terms of his physicality and stuff, he was a fantastic player for his generation.
Yeah, I agree. And he was in that era as well. That era that I sort of talked about. He played for Bradford in that era, so he was Bradford's loose forward at that time.
Yes. Yeah.
So
exactly.
I sort of think it works into that conversation of we had a lot of great number 13s in our competition around the turn of the century. Interestingly, as well, about the loose forward position, and I've not looked at the quiz because Sarah was going to obviously be with us, and it sounds like it's not been a serious injury with Anna, which is very good to hear.
Good.
So
good to hear.
I've got the quiz instead, and we're going to go on to that just in a second. And I don't know if this comes up in the quiz or not, so I'm probably ruining this quiz. But there's only 3 players who've won multiple Man of Steel awards. And it's probably the 3 players we've gushed over the most. Hanley, Sculthorpe and Farrell.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And then when you look at the Super League Dream Team, so obviously we're going back to 1996. Okay. Well, Andy Farrell was the loose forward in that side. 96, 97, 98, and then it was Vowles in 99. But then 2000 it was back to Farrell. 2001 it was Farrell. Then it was Sculthorpe. 2002. Back to Farrell. Then it was back to Sculthorpe. Then it was Sinfield. Almost an aberration. Stephen Wilde got in there one year for Huddersfield Giants. But then it's back to Sinfield, right? Then 2009 Sinfield. So far, we've pretty much only heard 3 names and 2 one-seasoners. Yeah. And 2002 is the start of the Sean O'Loughlin era. He gets in 7 of the next 10 Super League Dream Teams. The only people who break that run at all was in 2015 Adam Cuthbertson. In 2016 Gareth Ellis. Now Gareth Ellis we talked about as a second rower, didn't we? Because probably the best time of his career was in Australia in the second row. But
yes, he's a second row for me. Yeah.
But he's matured into a great loose forward as well. And then Morgan Knowles last year, who is the next breed, you know,
next
the Morgan Knowles and Morgan Smithies, they're the future, aren't they, of the position? And they're maybe like undersized middles, so they're not quite as big enough to maybe be the battering rams of prop forwards, but they're certainly not ball players as such. But they have ability. They have an ability to. Adam Milner's a bit the same as well. They have an ability to kind of, one, definitely annoy the opposition with how hard they can hit considering how small they are, and 2, play a little bit of ball that's not going to necessarily be expected from their opponents. So maybe that's where the position goes next.
Maybe so.
Shall we do the quiz?
Yeah, let's move on to the quiz.
Let's see how many of the questions we've ruined. Okay, so. Oh, good, because I didn't mention this guy, and I wanted to. So, round 1 is the history round. You've got 3 questions in the history round, okay?
Okay.
The first Rugby World Cup Great Britain winners was captained by which loose forward? So, the first World Cup winning Great Britain side was captained by which loose forward?
Right. Oh, God. See, this is a proper history lesson. So it's 1970, isn't it?
No, isn't it?
Is it?
I thought it was... Well,
or is that the last time?
The last time was 1972.
When was the first time then?
Right. Okay. So
I don't think
it was in the 50s,
I don't
wasn't
know.
it? So the first World Cup was 54, wasn't it? And this guy captained that side.
Okay. I don't know. I'm afraid I have to pass.
Right. Okay. Just as a clue, he was Scottish by birth. It was
Dave Valentine.
It is Dave Valentine, yeah.
Yeah. That was the clue really helped.
Good. The second question is which was his club side? He was a one-club man. Was Dave Valentine, playing between 1947 and 1957 for this club? Who was his club?
I have no idea. So I'm going to guess at Leeds.
No, he did die in Leeds, though, according to his Wikipedia profile. It was it was Huddersfield.
Ah, right, okay.
Okay, and then question 3: which loose forward coached both Hull clubs?
Oh,
I nearly gave this one away during the thing as well, but I held myself back. That's lucky.
who's forward coached both home clubs? Oh no, I don't know that one.
Johnny Whiteley.
Ah, right, okay.
So we're at 1 out of 3 so far. Well done if you're playing along at home and you beat Alan on that one. In round 2, which seems to be called Celery also played centre and halfback. But it's the Ellery Hanley round, basically.
Okay.
So, question 1 in the Ellery Hanley round. Ellery Hanley played for 3 British clubs. Can you name them?
He played for Bradford. He played for Wigan. And he played for Leeds.
Correct, yes. Question 2. He had 3 spells in Australia, but name the club or clubs that he played for in those 3 spells.
I think he played for Balmain.
Correct, that is a team that he played for in Australia.
I don't know the other ones. I'd guess it probably maybe Parramatta or something like that.
No, it was the other side of the merger. He played for the Western Suburbs in between
Right.
2 spells with Balmain.
Right.
Yeah.
I just have a memory of him playing in the orange shirt. That's all.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Question 3. Which I don't quite understand how the answer is. But how much was paid for him in transfer fees?
What in total? Probably a lot. I think we got a tidy sum for him. I'd say probably something like $500,000, something like that.
I think I'll give you the point on that one. So it was 400,000, but I think you were quite kind of close.
It's close enough, isn't it?
There was £150,000 paid in the deal to Bradford for him to move to Wigan, and then when Leeds signed him from Wigan, they reportedly paid £250,000.
Right.
So
there you go.
400,000, but I think you were close enough.
Half a point.
Yeah. It doesn't look like any Australian clubs paid any money for him when he went to play for any of them.
Well, it was a different season, wasn't a different time.
He, of course, was almost signed to play for the London Monarchs as well. That's not one of the questions, though. Question 4, final question in the Ellery Hanley round, is name either of the 2 players that were used as a make weight in the deal to sign him from Bradford to Wigan.
Oh, who did we get from Wigan in '85? Oh God, man. I don't know. Sorry.
It was Phil Ford and Steve Donlan.
I see. Yeah, Phil Ford. Yeah. No, I remember Ford. Well, I know Ford by reputation playing for Bradford, not the other guy. There you go.
Yeah, it's hard to tell because they don't have the full stats on their Wikipedia pages for what games they played for what clubs, but looks like